Hello, it's Press, and I want to share a vision with you that was given to Swarna Jha in 2007 because it applies to something important to pray about now, things that are happening now. And I already tried to record this once, and suddenly, after a couple of minutes of recording, I had some demonic interference, and this voice was coming out that sounded demonic. It's like they slowed down the video, and so I'm trying again, okay? Because these things happen. And this is, it's very interesting because this is a vision that has to do with media and the airwaves, so. Okay, she saw this vision, she says, around the end of November 2007. She saw high over America was a vast dome that covered the entire nation. It looked like a giant spider's web. And as she looked closely, she saw that most gaps had been filled with concrete, and the web was now black with dust and dirt. She saw that there were gaps through which fresh air would come in. The constant broadcasting of filth had created the web, but I saw that there were those who did not broadcast filth, and the truth of their broadcast was preventing the concrete spider's web from closing completely. There was Christian filth and non-Christian filth being broadcast over the airways. Those broadcasting the truth when few wanted to hear it in the nation were scattered and scant, and their voices were drowned out in the sounds of revelry and filth. Those who loved the Lord cried out to him. Resources were scarce, and it was getting lonelier and lonelier, being the lone voice of truth in America. Oftentimes, people had tried to gag them, and other times the Lord had them sit in silence. Suddenly, there was a deafening sound, and the dome was caving in. Raiders of the airways from other nations were airdropped into America, as were many armors, so that those God lovers who had been or were yet to join broadcasting, publish, or do anything media related were protected in an armor that was fully fitted to do the works of God. As I looked at America, I saw the great changes were taking place in the media, and I saw clenched fingers held tightly in a fist. And this was the fist of those who for years had controlled Christian and non-Christian media. I saw a wooden foot ruler, 12-inch scale, descend from the sky and wrap this clenched fist hard on the fingers that were now no more tightly clenched, but they opened up. And I understood within the vision that monopolies in media would be broken. As the fingers unfurled, I understood that there would be openings for the new entrants or the established smaller ones who were earlier considered inconsequential or irrelevant, they were considered, into every form of media in areas where there previously had been an airtight control. Underneath the surface, whilst the media looked the same from above, below, many changes were taking place. The tastes of many were changing, and quietly from within, people were becoming more and more suspicious of media. Oh gee, I wonder why, right? Its style of reporting and the insult to the intelligence of the viewer, hearer, reader by the programming. Christians and non-Christians were beginning to want something more substantial. Christians were becoming hungry for the truth. I had already typed up to here on 5th of December 2007, aired on the 2nd of January in an interview with True News, and I shared those parts which I had not got around to typing, but had jotted down the notes on paper. Continuing with the vision, I saw that those who had been making public their message of truth in America were the Nathaniels, in whom there was no guile. They spoke forthrightly, and many Americans accused them of being traitors, blasphemers of the system the nation so revered. The environment the Nathaniels were working in, these remnant in America who spoke the truth at times, felt lonely, rejected, and many, many times threw in the towel, for I saw a vision flash of the towel being thrown in back at the remnant. by the Lord. God, by his grace, had not allowed the remnant to give up or resign. He had kept them going. But now I saw in the vision that though on the surface American media looked exactly the same as it had done for years, underneath the surface many changes had already taken place and would continue. God lovers had left the church system and were compelled in their spirit to speak out against the lies, the false doctrines, the greedy leaders, the Mammonites. They boldly aired their views and refuted the lies of the church and the government and the nation. These raiders of the airways who constantly preached the truth and fought against the lies aired on TV, radio, and the internet, the so-called churches, had by their ministry of countering such ever-increasing lies slowly but surely found that they were not alone in the desire for hearing the truth. And when these raiders of the airways had first begun to fight the lies, they did not do a market research to see if there was a market for the truth. They spoke, wrote, aired, and shared the truth because they knew the truth must be shared. Whilst the dry ones continued on writing and airing their Emmanuels, knowing not Emmanuel, these raiders of the airways, the truth lovers, spoke, wrote, shared with some urgency all that the Lord had laid on their hearts. Their messages had been to prepare to equip the saints for the coming hour. Many in the land, due to the growing hunger for truth in people, had grudgingly shared part truth on their forums and radio stations, internet blogs, sites, forums, fearing like Saul that if they did not do so, the people would leave. These compromisers had in this way propagated mixture. From their platforms, they shared false prophecies, true prophecies, false doctrines, and some true doctrines. So when their listeners and patrons heard, saw, and read their wares, they became even more confused than before. Such vendors of mixture did not understand that it would have been better to shut down their sites, forums, radio, TV stations than air such mixture. I saw those hungry for the truth slowly but surely moved away from those who persistently aired mixture. I saw that in America and world over, a process of elimination continued. People who sought the truth separated from the profane. They were tickled, stuck with the filth. And the patrons, listeners, readers, viewers who remained with such, these became contributors of so much filth that now the moderators and webmasters, TV and radio station owners were despairing. They were trapped in the filth, and the monsters they had created were now out of control. Yet donations from the undiscerning kept them going, and as they knew no other occupation but to vend filth and mixture, they would drag it as far as it would go. Shifting down or repenting publicly and changing drastically was not an option for them, as they had too much at stake. As long as the gospel is preached, who cares what methods we used is how they consoled themselves. Some were unaware that a coup had taken place, and though they were owners of sites and stations, the employees, moderators, public who loved mixture had taken over their platforms without accountability and rendered the webmasters and owners of TV, radio stations, print media, etc. as mere puppets, heads of such platforms, which they had once hoped would be for airing the truth. Such media platform owners would occasionally rise up like a drunken man in stupor and speak or point to some truth, but then soon be pushed back in the corner by public demand for mixture. I saw mixture, she said. Those who had used their media platforms to vend or send mixture now appeared helpless and did not do anything to transform change. Repenting, closing down was not an option for these. They would continue as long as they could for the for like Pilate, they could say to their detractors, "What is the truth?" Strangely, these who promoted mixture became set in their ways and rather wasted precious time and resources warning against those who spoke and aired the truth. I saw that they did this out of jealousy and insecurity. Since 2006, I have been seeing infiltrators, spies, sneak into various internet sites and forums, she says. The Pharisees wanted to convert the cheap grace preachers, and the cheap grace preachers wanted to convert the Pharisees. Now I saw infiltrators in the governments world over and infiltrators in the church. And I saw that in the guise of wanting to learn and hear the truth, the infiltrator spies had even invaded the domain of the raiders of the airways. But the truth lovers would be in due course of time, by godly discernment, godly shrewdness, deal with them. Swarna Jha. Swarna Jha happens to also be a lawyer. So we need to pray. We need to pray for the media. God had told me some time ago to be doing that, and to pray for the media moguls, because many of them would be saved in the coming awakening. And that is at hand. So keep on keeping on, and don't give up. And don't give up sharing the truth, because this week there was one day where I was feeling pretty discouraged, and the Lord said to me, don't stop warning people. So keep on keeping on. God bless you and keep you in the palm of his hand, as I know he will.